still connected with the Aboriginal community because they offered me from that position, other position, in a jail, in Long Bay jail, one of the biggest jails.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was inside a jail getting eye scanned and, you know, fingertips scanned and all that kind of stuff. And I was inside the hospital because I used to deal still with the Aboriginal people's health. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is just, it's too much for me. I'm very empathic. And it was just getting to me and thinking, why am I in jail? What happened to me? I'm an artist in a desk. And I just thought, this is not my calling. I know I can do better than this using whatever skills I was born with. So I quit my job and put myself in film school at 32, yeah. And I never looked back.
I consider myself to be quite fortunate in, one, I grew up in the country, so I had, I guess a good exposure to a wide range of people, and we moved a bit as well. But when I was 19, 19, I'd finished school, and I kind of was taking a year off to sort of see what I wanted to do with my life, and I wasn't interested in rushing into university. And a mate of mine got a job with this company that were going to go travel in the Northern Territory selling family portraits door to door. And so I, at the time, thought, okay, that sounds like an adventure. I've never been to the Northern Territory, so let's do it. So we went off on this journey in these dodgy cars, and not the sort of thing that you want to be driving now that we've all seen Wolf Creek, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially that.
Exactly like that car, exactly
like
probably the same model. And we went out to these areas like in Tennant Creek and Catherine and some other little places beautiful. In between. And they have, of course, Aboriginal settlements outside of town, which is quite sad really in its own way, because some of them, they literally fence them into these areas at night time. It's because of the alcohol-fueled violence, which I ultimately see as our fault to begin with. When I say
completely,
the Western society who brought it to them. But I did find the same thing that you said, that once when we went out there, at first everyone was really strange, wary, and you were kind of like, okay, how's this all going to go down? Are we going to get beaten up? Are the dogs going to eat us? The dogs were a bit nasty the whole time, to be honest. But the people warmed up, and the kids were amazing from the start. But once they knew that we're actually there, and they love family, right? So they really loved the photos, and they would sign up. And I just found some of the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life, really, amongst the Aboriginal people there. So I think it's really sad in Australia that not very many people actually get to have that experience,
Absolutely, it is. And there's so much discrimination, and they don't know, they just don't understand all the adversities that they face every day, all the trauma. The past is actually, now it's discovered, being passed through DNA trauma.
Wow.
So being colonized, that was trauma. Being taken away from the families, that's another massive trauma. How can you deal with that without, trying to escape through drugs and booze if you don't have counseling to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yeah, absolutely. So the sort of work that you were doing at that time, what kind of programs or sorts of initiatives did you put in place?
So because some of these communities unfortunately have a lot of high infection of STIs, so sexually transmitted diseases, because they don't have protections available and easy to get. So there is a lot of that going on. So I said, well, let's see how we can curb this. They asked me how to figure out how to lower the, at least increase education, of course. That was the main thing to do.
Yeah.
So what I thought, I was like, okay, I'm pretty creative myself. And I know that Aboriginal people love music, love art, and all these sorts of beautiful things that help them also connect to the country and to the origin. So I tested this program, which is still going and is really taken off, which is educating through graffiti art.
Oh, wow, awesome.
So we would go to, a community, a town, or even a juvenile justice detention center. We would get a big wall and get a famous graffiti artist with us, and teach them how to do graffiti, proper graffiti, with this graffiti artist,
Yeah.
and then teach them how to protect, for, I don't know, hepatitis C or other STIs, and then make a big mural together with a message of how to protect and sorts of things like that. And yeah, they loved it. It's there's a lot of beautiful skate parks with the right message, with this graffiti art, or yeah, do not just detention centers, and at the same time do a peer-to-peer education, so getting young people to teach other young people about how to protect, from this action. So yeah, it's still going. I'm very proud of that little baby I made, that it's still out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, and I love that sort of thing as well. Actually, street art. I follow a few different people on Instagram, and at one stage, well, it still kind of exists. I think I'll probably do it just every so often, which sort of fits with the theme. But I was running a show called Tangent Tuesday, where I kind of would just, kind of interview all sorts of interesting people from all over the world, doing just whatever I found to be particularly interesting, and often kind of stuff that's a bit more fringe, I suppose. And there's a guy that I've been following for a while called That Damn Vandal, and he of course started as a illegal graffiti artist, but now all he does is commissioned work, and he does these amazing wall art, and he's done things with Reebok on shoes and other
Amazing.
brands like that. Yeah, it's really cool. It paints cars for like Lamborghinis and stuff like that in this graffiti style. It's pretty it's pretty
Very
cool.
cool.
Yeah. So, like, then what happened that I guess got you thinking I want to do filmmaking, or how did that journey begin?
I think also I was making great stuff there, and connecting with people, but I think I was getting quite down. I think those stories were really getting to me. I was really, really, sometimes I would just go back to my hotel room or motel where I was staying in the community and just bawl my eyes out. And I'm thinking, this is not enough. It's just such a small contribution.
Yeah.
What it really needs is a systematical change. And in order to do that, I would like the rest of Australia to see these stories and to understand what I'm understanding. Because I don't think we're going to have a major impact just by only little story, little programs like those ones. I think it's just needs a systematic change. Needs the majority to understand what the minority needs, and how to heal this wound, the open wound. So I decided to use my artistic skills to tell these stories. And so I quit my job, which is also really quite well paid, and ended up, actually, at the time I was my another job, still connected with the Aboriginal community, because they offered me from that position other position in a jail, in Long Bay jail, one of the
Wow.
biggest jails.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was inside a jail getting eye scanned and finger tips scanned and all that kind of stuff, and I was inside the hospital because I used to deal still with the Aboriginal people's health. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is it's too much for me. I'm very empathic. And it was just getting to me and thinking, why am I in jail? What happened to me? I'm an artist in a desk.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is not my calling. I know I can do better than this using whatever skills I was born with. So I quit my job, and yeah, I put myself in film school at 32, yeah. And yeah, I never looked back. Tough, starting all over again. But I would do it over and over. It's just, I love what I do, and it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, and that was one of the things I suppose I was curious to find out about with the success that you've had with Balentes. whether
You still pronounce it really well, by the way.
oh, did I? Oh, good.
Very good.
Each time I'm saying it, I'm thinking I don't even know whether I'm saying it the same way each time. So I was like a bit nervous. But the success that you've had there, how much of that would you attest to? I guess how close it is to you personally, because they always talk about write what you know when it comes to narrative. Within the documentary space, do you think because it was, I guess, your hometown and you were kind of in that journey, do you think that had a big part to play?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right. The first thing they say, like, tell the story of your tribe, and I did tell the story of my tribe. But at the same time, I was more closer to the Aboriginal tribe than my Sardinian tribe.
Right.
So I kind of got treated a little bit like the outsider. They thought I was more the Australian in Sardinia.
Right.
So it took a little while to get trusted by Sardinian people. Sometimes I still struggle if they don't know me or haven't heard about me yet. But getting respect from people that have struggled to trust, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was of course, because so close to my heart. I put everything I had. I self-produced it. It took me 5 years to finish it, with lots of tears. I must admit, I touched the bottom there. Like, sometimes I just didn't even know where I could spend my nights. I went to a point where I just I finished all my money. I just don't know how I can survive now. But I had lots of friends helping, and I just made it, and it was worth it, all the sacrifices I made.